have open phones in this hour, and it is, of course, already the second day of April, 2013. I am your host, Alex Jones. Here are just some of the Second Amendment headlines. We are going under global governance by a foreign banking cartel that is now openly demonizing the Founding Fathers, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, families, the Second Amendment. Major pediatric journals, again, are calling for children to be killed up to age 3 that are totally healthy. Hell on earth is being promoted. And people ask, how far will the tyranny go? To the exact level we put up with. And you see the Republicans going, why, we want to get elected. We better accept socialist health care and open borders. That's all a hoax. The Republicans wrote the socialist health care and the open borders because they work for the very same globalist. And they run this hoax of, oh, government's real popular. Everyone likes what Obama's doing. That's all a giant hoax. Only the weakest minds hear that and go, oh, that football team's winning? I better get on the bandwagon. You're just a bandwagon fan. Why, I've been a Dallas Cowboy fan since I was 2 years old. What are you doing moving to Dallas, liking the Cowboys? I grew up actually hearing talk like that. And I thought it was stupid. It's okay to like a football game, but like, my whole life's about the Dallas Cowboys. And boy, you better watch. It's the same thing with government. I'm a winner because I'm with Obama. I get free health care. You get free health care? That's why the insurance companies wrote it? You know what the insurance companies, I went and looked. You know what they're lobbying for in all 50 states? You know what the insurance companies are lobbying for? At the federal level, guess and what they want, they get. They are the big mega offshore banks. Just like the military-industrial complex is owned by the big offshore banks who can create unlimited fiat money. They need $1 trillion. They just create it. Then they go, oh, the economy will implode. If this implodes, sign on your faith and credit of your government of Iceland or Germany or the U.S. And then we're told that's our debt by their operatives on the news. And that's a good trick if you can get people to accept it. And they can only do that because they won't even tell people in our media now. They did it first, but the memo went out. Don't talk about Cyprus. Don't say that's a theft. Don't talk about money out of bank accounts. So now it's called Cyprus got its bailout. Good news for its people. Next up on Fox News. I actually heard that on Fox Radio and saw that on Fox TV. Tuned over to CNN last week. Same thing. Well, Cyprus got some good news. They got their bailout. That'll keep them from going under. Some people didn't like it. There was some firebombing. You know, those troublemakers. Of course, they could just say no like Iceland and find out that 90+% of the debt was not theirs and foreign banker debt. What did England, the British government, first say when Iceland 3 years ago said, we're not going to pay back this debt, it's not ours? They announced in the news that all Icelanders, all 400,000, were terrorists and could not board British Airways flights. If you're wondering what Homeland Security's for here in the same systems in Europe, it's for if you try to go get your money out of the bank, you're a terrorist. See, they're aiming guns at you out of the teller window, literally. You can pull up video and photos. You've seen it in Cyprus and other areas where they now have brought in foreign mercenaries, foreign security firms is what they're called, to stand outside and inside with loaded submachine guns so you don't give the bank a problem, because there are some elitists who are exempt and, you know, some people only get 10% out, some 100% taken out of their after-tax money. And this is what they're going to do here. See, when you don't have a Second Amendment, let me tell the cowards, because there's not just authoritarians that have an instinct to disarm the American people. Yeah, there's the BBC. Iceland, Britain's unlikely new enemy. And then it announces how they were all terrorists. Of course, the Icelanders called their bluff and said, fine, don't let us fly on British Airways or come to England. And then they had to remove that. But no, they tried to say you're a terrorist. And folks, that's why FEMA gets up and says George Washington and Thomas Jefferson are terrorists, and anyone that supports the Constitution is a terrorist. I have that on video in my film, Road to Tyranny, with all the government documents. It's making the rounds because George Washington blog linked to it today, so we put it up on Infowars.com, and people, 12 years after I got that footage, I got it right before 9/11 out of Kansas City, a firefighter at a law enforcement. They're trying to turn firefighters into cops, spies now, and most of the cops were agreeing. And and folks, I have 18 hours of it. I got to find that on VHS. It's somewhere in the warehouse, and put the whole thing on the web. People say, why didn't you do it 12 years ago? Back then it was really hard to put stuff on the web. There was no YouTube. I put the clip of the bribery on my own servers when I caught bribery at the Capitol. And I got I forget, it was some giant $15,000 bill when, a few 100,000 people watched it. And there it is. FEMA, founding fathers were terrorists. Terrorist. Terrorist. So I want to get your take on all this. They officially say they've got to restrict our guns to get us in line with the UN treaty. And the UN treaty says only states can have guns, private citizens cannot. And the media goes, oh, no, it doesn't say that. And then Forbes went and actually read the whole treaty and said, no, it's true. It goes after your guns. And they even recommend how to get the guns. First, license them, then confiscate them. Like you did in over 160 other countries in the last 50 years? You mean that way? In Burma, they took the guns from the natives. Very few of them had them. And then the 2 years after they had a gun buyback and took them, they went in and killed, the British government did, on record, 4,000 plus of the population. Because they wanted their land. They just mowed them down. And again, it's always, every day I see at the back of the paper, oh, yeah, UN forces killed a bunch of people. I showed you articles last hour, BBC, you name it, bragging about it. Lining up little kids, blowing their heads off. But see, they don't make it a big deal when they do that. But when 20 people get killed at Sandy Hook, which you can bet your boots was a staged operation. And by the way, there were kids. They're not going to pass up an opportunity to grease some kids. That's what, they enjoy their work. It's like, one time they asked Prince Philip, why do you like gardening and doing it yourself? He goes, well, I enjoy gardening. I mean, that's part of the thing, getting your hands dirty. And I mean, the UN is an army of pedophiles. Everywhere they go, they rape and murder children, and it always comes out, and then it's not on the news. And now they just arrest reporters for violating Interpol and global rules if they expose it. In fact, they're going after reporters that expose White House corruption now. They should get a Pulitzer Prize. How about you go to jail? You see, and why? Because we've bent over to corruption. We've bent down and licked its boots. And people think that's a virtue now. And the globalists go to public places, and they take one look at the soft, weak, pathetic people, and they say, we're going to take everything they've got and give them ridiculous cover stories, and they're such cowards, they're going to go along with it. And they go, well, who do we have to worry about historically? The police and military. We've done the questionnaires. We know who's good. We know who's bad. And for them, the bad is the good. We know who'll do anything. Yeah, but we got to worry about them. They'll try to form a coup against us. Like they always will, we'll take care of them. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was the last message. They're not just going to go after the good police and military. The #1 group that they're going to put into vats of acid are the worst. If you're a black op killer, drug dealer for the government, you're a retired, a sheep-dipped Army captain, 35 years old, done torture all over the world. Now you're shipping drugs in, and you got a house in Maui and a trophy wife. You're dead. You're dead. They're going to kill you. I know they take you to meetings and show you old guys and show you larger teams, and and everything's about making you feel like there's a reason for it, and we've got to run the crime because somebody else will. That's how we control it. And oh, I know. Believe I know all about it, little boy. When they go to the next level, you're dead. So enjoy that. Just thought I'd give you a little news flash on that front. So I want to hear from you on the happy things we're talking about here today. I want to hear from you on, are you military? Are you police? It's now official. All over, they're saying, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn in all your semi-autos, register all the others, insurance to buy guns, insurance to buy ammo, which is registration. And again, the power to tax is the power to destroy. If they can raise your taxes If they can make you get insurance to have a bike, which they're pushing, or insurance to have a house or a car, they can raise it. If they can make you buy health insurance, what's it going to do? Double the first year? It also bankrupts you. There's also the money issue. But see, now they're saying in these bills, it will be illegal to have ammo without your purchase receipt. You're a little criminal now. They're making it illegal. It's a license to own ammo. It's the end of the Second Amendment. Here it is. UN passes sweeping international arms regulation viewed by some, those that have a brain, as a Second Amendment override. Washington Times. Go to Infowars.com. Veterans guns confiscated after forced psychiatric evaluation, honorably discharged with a concealed carry, never had a psychological problem. All vets are getting letters to show up now. And they're being told you can go in, you can be running $1 million company, have no criminal record, be totally together. Some sniveling mental patient, communist, power-tripping psychiatrist is going to take your guns. And they're going to order you to turn them in, but most of the time they don't care. They just have the police come, arrest you involuntarily under their order, not even a psychiatrist or judge now, and then you're going to lose your guns. And they hope you fight back. This is the false flag. They're starting a fight with you. Let me tell you, don't shoot them. Don't shoot the dumb cops, the traitor idiots. Don't shoot the psychiatrist. Spend all your money suing them, all your money going to state reps, all your money buying radio time, all your money going after them politically. Insider billionaire investors like George Soros and John Paulson have recently made massive moves into gold, purchasing what Bloomberg News described as gold hoards. Soros alone doubled his holdings in a single day. Russia's Vladimir Putin has doubled down on gold, increasing the country's holdings by over 100%. With $1.8 trillion under management, the bond king Bill Gross, the world's preeminent bond fund manager at PIMCO, has warned investors of the dangers of QE3 and inflation. And what's he betting on? You guessed it, gold. Friends, this is Alex Jones for MidasResources.com. For more than 15 years, I have exclusively used Midas Resources for all my precious metal needs. Whether it's bullion or collectibles you're looking for, Midas Resources is simply the best. I own my gold as a hedge against inflation. This Federal Reserve fiat currency could go the way of the Deutschmark and the Weimar Republic anytime. In these historically dangerous times, it makes sense to physically hold gold and silver. Midas already has some of the best deals in the industry. But if you give them a call and mention the radio special, they will give you a list of the day's super specials. Midas brokers are standing by to answer all your questions at 800-686-2237. They also have a lot of informative free literature explaining the opportunities and risk of holding precious metals. They are ready to answer your questions at 800-686-2237. Again, that's 800-686-2237. If we simply get the word out as a culture, as a society, and really show people the two different sides that are there, and then tell folks to make a choice what side they're on, we'll win this thing. We have the moral authority. But if people buy into the hoax, we're going to probably lose this thing. Now, those of you that try to enforce it are going to be the biggest losers, but still, they will get their new world order. Because wrecking America and other Western countries is part of the globalist plan. They're decade and 50-year planners. That's why every sitcom, every cop show, every drama, every program out there demonizes gun owners, libertarians, conservatives, returning veterans. Every show. The following, where you have a psychopathic leader with a cult of psychos that try to impress him, surrounds himself with police that are secretly anti-New World Order, and surrounds himself with people that are constitutionalists and militias and farmers. I've now had a chance to go and watch some of the episodes, clips of it online, and it's the same as the show Founding Fathers, where I was talking to Shane Steiner. He saw the episode. I haven't seen it. He described it to me. I think it was Shane described it to me, where the veteran joins Al-Qaeda overseas and comes back, and now he's leading the local Patriot Tea Party, but he's really Al-Qaeda. People are like, how are they going to sell that? See, the real manuals for about 4 years say the Pentagon expects, this is Army War College, it's been in the mainstream news. We first broke it, people couldn't believe it, and then the news picked it up. Oh, it must be real. See, we're bad because we break things that are accurate. We're not uplifted or exalted because of that. And it said, yeah, the Tea Party, the Pentagon predicts, will merge with al-Qaeda and try to overthrow the U.S. government. Now, what does that really mean? The globalists are going to blow stuff up and say al-Qaeda did it with the Tea Party. That's about the most Islamic-phobic group out there. You know, I told you this guy a few weeks ago overseas running around saying, you know, former Army or former a Marine guy saying, I'm with al-Qaeda and I'm over here fighting against Assad. And they said, so you work for the U.S. government too? And he goes, yeah, well, you know, we work both sides. And I said, they'll probably stage his arrest, or worse, they may put him in jail because he bragged, I can fly back and forth. I mean, what a dumb guy. Definitely not an agent yet. An operative, a asset. I mean, they've got whole brigades of U.S. soldiers over there with beards and everything fighting alongside the Saudis. Brigades. Some estimates are 30,000 U.S. European troops over there with the 50 to 60,000 jihadis out of Saudi Arabia and Qatar. That's on record. They've got beards. Just like the Navy SEALs all grow beards in Afghanistan. And all you fools, I told you, they'll probably use some of you and say you're real al-Qaeda on the news. You understand? I said this about a year ago. I said they're using forces, they're sheep-dipping them and making them join al-Qaeda. They think they're infiltrating al-Qaeda, and you're going to be the rollout to say veterans in the U.S. are all secretly al-Qaeda. Because when I started seeing these internal manuals that federal people were sending me and stuff, you know, that said the Tea Party's going to merge with al-Qaeda, I'm like, wait, that makes no sense. No one will buy it. And I go, no, wait, how would they do that? All right, well, I know they're actually running al-Qaeda, so they've got special forces. They'll order special forces to go undercover. That's what they do, spies. Special forces means military spy. Specially trained combat spy is really what it is. And no one even describes it like that on the news, but that's what it is. Specially trained combat spies, high IQ. Well, you high enough IQ to know criminals run America and the planet now? You're being sheep-dipped like McVeigh was sheep-dipped into militias to then blame militias when they set him up for the bombing. We know the names of the feds that did it. We've got all the eyewitnesses. Now they're sheep-dipping the military into al-Qaeda to then say the military is all secretly al-Qaeda. And I said that's how they do it. I mean, it's the only way they do it. And now to back it up, they've got at least, it was 6 shows on TV that I happen to have run into or know about. No, 7. Sorry, they showed me one other one. Forget the name of the show. It's where criminals go and become good and help people fix their houses up. But the bad guys on the show are always constitutionalists and, you know, they can't be reprieved and gun owners. Who was telling me about that? It was David Knight was telling me about that show. No, it was a construction guy was here telling me about that the other day. Because he was sitting in there waiting to meet with me while I was shooting the news. So he listened, and I said, that sounds crazy. He goes, no. There's this show I watched with my wife where they do the same thing. So I got to go check on that. My point is, this is the whole plan. Okay? So military, you are al-Qaeda. Just get ready. They're going to put you in a forced labor camp. You don't think the Soviets, globalists, are going to work. You're going to work in the camp because they love you. And they're going to kill babies too, but that's liberal.
While we fight to retain our liberty, while we fight to expose globalism, we have to realize we're talking about a very powerful combination of power.
Renowned author and expert Joel Skousen breaks down the globalist plan to shut down America and stage a new world war.
In one day, America will go from day to night. And if you haven't prepared in advance, there's not enough time to prepare in 24 hours, even if you saw it that early.
Coming to the Info War in November is our new documentary film presentation.
Strategic relocation is a systematic way to think strategically in the future about how do I safeguard.
Joel Skousen, Strategic Relocation.
The freeways are going to be crowded, they're going to run out of gasoline, they're going to run out of food, and then they're going to start to go north and south of those freeways.
Joel Skousen is renowned as one of the world's foremost experts in strategic relocation and the securing of your home.
We talk about natural disasters, the health environment, we talk about pollution, the water quality. My personal experience about being in every one of these states.
government is digging in for the organized, incremental collapse of society and world war.
The U.S. isn't building huge underground bases and bunkers because of some terrorist threat. They know that a massive nuclear attack is coming. They want that attack to come. Most people won't even be ready and won't be able to get out of town when any of these nuclear weapons fall, because there'll be absolute panic.
There is no preparedness without strategy.
What I tell people is that you do have time. Prepare wisely in advance.
This Christmas, give the gift of preparedness. Strategic Relocation, the film, with Joel Skousen and Alex Jones. Again, I'm going to warn all military and police personnel worldwide, never take part in role-playing or drills, because 99% of the time it won't be an issue. Don't take part in drills where you play the part of a radical Islamic terrorist or a radical right-wing terrorist, because one day you're going to drive a real truck of explosives onto a military base. Or if they pick a federal building that's got a daycare, there's not many of them, there's a good chance you better check in the back of that truck. That's going to be real explosive. And you're going to go down in history as the right-winger who secretly worked for al-Qaeda. And again, new listeners are going, well, that makes no sense. I mean, if they told people to throw their kids off cliffs to prove they didn't like al-Qaeda, right-wingers would do it. I mean, it's a total phobia. They love hating Muslims. It's a religion. That's why it's so funny. It's so sick. They've got U.S. forces, Marines, Army, Special Forces ordered to go al-Qaeda against Syria and other areas in Africa, African, all over North Africa, and they're now setting them up and arresting them, as I said they would do. People are like, how do you know this? Because it's shake and bake. I know how to cook a pork chop with shake and bake. I mean, it's like, read the directions. They do this all the time. I see the new narrative they're putting out to the feds, out of the ADL and Southern Poverty Law Center, that represent the foreign banks that have captured America to a great extent. Now they want to shut down the free media, mop up who their enemies are, and who are their enemies? Constitutionalists that want sovereignty and don't want to take over. And so what do? They've set up Homeland Security for terrorists. They're going to say veterans and patriots are al-Qaeda. How do you do that? You stage stuff and say patriots who were al-Qaeda did it. How do you introduce the idea? You just start having news articles 4 years ago going, soon white al-Qaeda, whites will link up with al-Qaeda. No one had ever done it. It was nowhere, wasn't true. Then you order the military to join al-Qaeda. It doesn't matter they're ordered to do it. You put them in jail. And now they're going and confiscating the firearms of veterans, and I'm going to get to that after I take some calls. 800-259-9231. Rob Jacobson was looking into UN crimes against people that I was talking about now that the UN treaty has been codified, and Obama is trying to get it ratified in the Senate. What the UN doesn't want you to know, and it was a witness to UN missions with slave trade, kidnapping children, you name it, London Telegraph. I mean, this is just one of, let's be conservative, tens of thousands of admissions of the UN. I mean, if the UN ever occupies your area, they will hunt your kids and load planes up with them to fly them off to pedophiles. They will mow you and your family down. They will blow up your energy facilities. They will run around slaughtering everyone. And then they will call in Angelina Jolie to stand in front of dead piles of dead bodies and feed a starving kid. 3 months into their starvation op, look, send me money. Here, child. You got to love it. It's so evil. Because real evil's an art form. Real evil is an art form. Disgustingly written in the blood of children. And so you got to sucker good people to give you money to kill kids. Isn't that, man, I tell you, that's loving and liberal. Almost as liberal as the Journal of Bioethics saying kill babies, and now Planned Parenthood and the legislature says, yeah, let's kill kids after they're born. You bet your boots. You better believe it. And now you're not supposed to be freaked out by that. That's completely normal. 800-259-9231. Let's go to your phone calls here today, happy campers. Again, UN has passed the sweeping global gun confiscation program, and Obama has pledged to get it ratified to take your guns. And if they've got to stage some mass shootings, they'll do it, just like they staged Fast and Furious. Oh, he's a Peace Prize winner, though. I forgot. It must be okay. Let's go to Carl in Oregon. You're on the air, sir. What do you make of the show today?
Well, hello, brother. It's one of your heroes calling in, Carl, from Oregon here. I think it's par for the course. We're talking about they have to, it's part of the UN agenda that they have to take away the guns from American people, most importantly, the veterans, because they are the first threat. Have you heard of a TV show on the History Channel called Gangland?
Yes, I have.
Okay. They're claiming that there's a lot of infiltration of gangsters that are being, because they're desperate to get bodies to fill the spaces of the regular American people that don't want to join the military.
And then they have all these big shows about how many units are totally Crip and Blood and Mexican Mafia and white supremacist. Just like the prisons are broken into that, the military is. And of course, it's still a small percentage, but yes, the total destruction of our military is coming. It's going to be drones, robots, foreign mercs. The U.S. military's done. The official plan is it's gone. I mean, I saw them 10 years ago in the Army War College on C-SPAN tell the generals that you work for the world government and the foreign banks. So, yes, the generals have known this for over a decade. This is official, and this is the beginning of it. Go ahead.
So you don't think it's propaganda? That's true fact.
There's massive gangs in the military?
Right.
No, that's a fact. That's absolute fact.
Okay, very good. Well, this is another thing I want to speak about. Why don't they put these individuals and the TV show with all the cities that across the country are infested with gangsters? Why don't they open the FEMA camps and put them in there?
Well, they're not going to do that. And again, they sold an MTV gang culture. Then they shipped the drugs in to break down the society, to give them a culture of death. And then now, all the kids, no matter what color they are taught the culture of death. And so they just pass around a poison drink to enchant us, to put us under the spell of corruption, to where, our young women think somebody that acts like a thug is a man, and a real man who actually works hard and is good and decent is a wimp. And the women wonder why they're so unhappy. Because, again, they follow what the TV says. You do what the TV says, and it says, be married to a crackhead. So it must be good. And again, the TV says go join the military so they can inject you with soft-kill binary bioweapons and then give you the rest of the poison later. And then, look, it's over. The beginning of the destruction of the U.S. military is on. In 10 years, it will be completely robot. And, of course, they want to have the trendies. It'll be nothing but the globalist kind of Soviets at the grassroots level who will be piloting and overseeing the autonomous drones. They'll kind of be like the toilet attendant, the vestigial, person there at the command center who believe there's too many. This has all been actuaried, all been planned, all official. Bill Joy wrote about it 12 years ago, told you the official plan. He went to the meeting, the globalists said they're going to kill everybody. He said, do you care? No one did. Okay, we're going to destroy you. And the public's just begging, rolling around, begging to have their children have convulsions and die in front of them after the shots, begging to be put in prison, begging to lick police boots. And so the system is going to destroy everybody because we want to be destroyed. How's that sound?
Disgusting. Alex, I think that is the true a threat to national security is... national security is the technocratic rise of the robot, transhumanist singularity. The singularity is our death. They're planning to have Skynet. They're planning our death. They are merging with the machines. Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead. You were saying that is the, and I interrupted you.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I think if you look at everything as a whole, that is the destruction, and that is the real true threat, is them converting everybody into this gangster mentality.
But only so they can all be divided and controlled by the federal UN force. We must be totally divided into racial and religious and ethnic sub-districts to then be ruled right out of Hunger Games by floating fortresses.
Yeah.
And everyone is now ready for that because it's what they've been taught. And the way they're going to kill us is with blimps at 120,000 feet with microwaves on them. And they just fly over your city and microwave your city by grids. Everybody wonders why they die a year later of cancer. And that's all official. Alexander Haig wrote about it 20 years ago. I saw him bragging about it I saw him 20 years ago. He wrote about it 25 years ago. I mean, it's all their plan. General Alexander Haig. It's all lovely, very lovey-lovey. But I appreciate your call. Truth is stranger than fiction. Reverend X, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Alex Jones, what's happening?
Oh, I'm just sitting here watching them turn up the ambient background radiation and kill everybody. It's pretty fun.
Watching them turn up the ambient background radiation. Here's what people need to get a hold through their head. Okay, after this Fukushima deal, okay, the radiation's already here. If we don't stand up now, that's the biggest problem in the world. If we don't stand up to this other stuff now, we're not going to be able to deal with the actual problem.
Is that what you actually called in about? That's weird that I brought up radiation.
Well, it happens that way. Anybody that's seen my web show knows about that. You just kind of go with what's there, okay? As far as the UN treaty goes, okay, nobody's ever read that document. Nobody that I've ever met of.
I have.
Okay, but so many people are willing to just lay down, throw away the Constitution, throw away God.
They love
and ready to turn their rights over to the UN.
That's right.
Have you ever known the UN to help anybody?
Well, I mean, all of the actresses, and Matt Damon says so, and I mean, Angelina Jolie, who openly was an admitted Satan worshiper who loves death and blood, I mean, she said so. She's nice.
Yeah, well, apparently that must make it so.
You know, the new movie, the book at least, the World War Z, the UN murders gun owners worldwide and love the zombies because they help bring down America, and they actually say Marxism is the answer in the book.
Yeah, that's got to be the high point of this. Okay,
but there is no Marxism. Everything's fine. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, last night there was a couple down in Brazil that got raped and beaten for several hours. Did the UN help them? Absolutely not. Everybody thinks that. Our modern evolutionists.
Sir, the UN engages in the most. When UN aircraft land, they are there to harvest children. I mean, it's like a movie where the bad guys come to steal the kids, but everyone just begs and worships it because they're the UN, because every Miss America says they love kids. I mean, you go to the mall and every, beautiful young woman is wearing a UNICEF or World Wildlife Fund shirt. I mean, it must be loving.
Argument here, but here's the thing, is that our modern evolutionists believe that only a bad guy would have a gun. Right? I mean, you're a bad guy, you like guns. I'm a bad guy, I like guns.
Oh, no. It's only bad when they don't have the guns and we have. They have the guns, we don't. That way they can take their time with us. Yeah.
Talking to that are in the middle, they're the guys, they're the people that think that we shouldn't have guns, but only their hired mercenaries should have guns.
Yes, that's the plan.
Okay, we've got to wake them up. These guys are never there when you need them. Okay, they are never helpful. They never do a damn good thing for anybody. But for some reason, we have to pay trillions of dollars to have them around. Okay, because once our rights get taken and God is out of everything, and your rights are going to be at the discretion of some office in the UN, and you're not even going to know how to get there. Thanks for your time, Alex.
Yeah, I appreciate your call. No, I mean, that's it. I mean, the globalists are bad mass murderers. They want our guns to take our bank accounts and rob us, and the state's going to take over our kids, and vaccines are going to be mandatory, and everybody will be dying around you like they already are, and getting sick, and they'll just say that's normal. And then they'll take away anyone that criticizes it as mentally ill. That's the authoritarian model. It's here. It's happening. And their people are marching around on power trips, getting off on the authoritarianism because they're so decadent. When you really get decadent, you get into authoritarianism. You think it's cool. I mean, when you look at the people that run this thing, they are just scum. But we lay down to them, and so they've taken over. America was built on not bowing to government. America was built on government better be small and respectful, and it works for us. They're public servants. They're not called public servants. They're called authorities, officials. We are civilians. You know, every sack of garbage, sack of traitorous trash, like our mayor here in Austin, Lee UN Leffingwell. Every authoritarian, you know, punk, swollen punk. They always call themselves the authority, and they go, "You civilians." And he stands around with all the police with their guns, and we're going to take your guns. We're going to take everything you got. That's liberal. Let's talk to Todd in Canada. Todd, you're on the air. Go ahead.
How are you today? It's a real honor to talk to you, and been trying to get hold of you for a long time, and I'm hoping one day to shake your hand. I have an idea for the show. I just want to blow past you. You can take it or you leave it, and I can assure you it's sincere.
Go ahead, my friend.
My idea for the show is because I've heard quite often people say, "Where are the men in this country?" And I agree, where are the men in this country? I'm calling from Canada. I can tell you it's hard to find people who are awake and see what's going on. And I'll tell you right now, man, I got a signed copy of the Constitution, and I'm in my bedroom. I love the Constitution, and I love America, and I love North America. I love everybody.
Well, that's a mental illness, according to and they're the authorities. Hey, look, they've put hormones in the water to feminize men. And so if you gave those hormones to bulls, they would act docile. We're under chemical warfare. I mean, the White House science czar admits they put stuff in the water. Eco-science, he's written a couple other books. This is all a fact. And even now as it comes out, they drug the water. They go, yeah, we're going to drug it more now. We're going to put lithium in to make you behave. I mean, these people are flaming authoritarian monsters. And that's where the men went, brother.
I agree with you, but I do think there are still a lot of men in the country, and I know they're out there listening right now, and I want to speak to them for just a moment. And my idea for the show is for these people to call in, just a short segment of your show when you do have callers, to call in, and we want to hear from the men in this country, because I know they're out there. I'm calling right now, man. I'm one of them. I'm making videos on YouTube. I'm speaking to people.
Keep going.
Telling you, like, I'm fighting hard, man. I'm fighting up here. I'm fighting with you guys, and you guys down there need to know you got brothers in the trench up here in Canada, big time. We're together, and I'm here to fight with you, man.
Well, I know there are people worldwide, not this issue of the magazine, but the next issue, we're going to put 3 bumper stickers in it, full-size bumper stickers. That'll be about 340,000 bumper stickers that are going to go out to be put on legal and lawful places in your car or give to friends or your book bag or whatever. That will certainly get the word out. But just the spirit of resistance. And look, record low numbers for TV viewers, record low numbers for cable viewers, record low. The establishment's dying. That's why they're trying to totally take over right now, not from a position of strength, but from weakness. But they're doing a psychological tactic now of hiding in plain view. That's why they're like, of course we're going to kill old people and babies after they're born. It's liberal. Of course the UN murders everyone. We have to. It's for the earth. Of course the communist Chinese tell us what we can put on TV in the U.S. They're just, of course George Washington's bad. What are you, one of the terrorists? They're the terrorists. They're the bad guys. Just openly there, so they know they're uncloaked now. And so they're just flaunting it, hoping their mind game works on us. It doesn't. Discredit them. Resist them. Don't comply. Speak out against them. The war is now.
The bloody British in a town in New Orleans.
It's like reading Conan the Barbarian novels or something. And you can love Andrew Jackson or hate him, but I mean, he grew up as tough as they come. Didn't even learn how to read and write till he was about 16 because the war came when he was like, 9 years old. By the time he was about 12, he was running courier notes and shooting redcoats. His mother and brother, his dad died when he was a little kid working the land. His mother and brother died in a British concentration camp. They invented it. They invented it in Scotland and Ireland, and of course, they didn't call it a concentration camp. That was the idea to put natives in reservations. That actually came from Ireland and Scotland, locking everybody up. Oh, we didn't execute them. We just let them starve to death out in the open weather. We let them freeze to death. And, of course, he ended up using those same policies against Native Americans himself. I guess the abused becomes the abuser. But, I mean, you read the whole life of Andrew Jackson and then Davy Crockett. Davy Crockett was trying to basically imitate Andrew Jackson. He was the big icon of all the battles and wars and stabbings and shootings and, shot 3 times, stabbed, bleeding for a week straight, refusing to die. I mean, just tough as nails. Andrew Jackson. I read those British descriptions of the Battle of New Orleans where they describe him up on the parapet while they're firing all their cannons at him for hours because they were losing until he arrived, and he just stood there in like a black cloak. They could see his eyes from hundreds of yards away. They described him like a grim reaper just radiating hatred at them. I mean, that stuff's incredible, folks. When you've read like the ship's logs and all the stuff of those wars, and like they just couldn't shoot him. It was just like George Washington. Because by then he didn't even have any teeth hardly, and like all that gray hair up there. That was before he was even president. By the time he was president, he couldn't even talk. He had no teeth. Oh, man, it's so bizarre. And then look what we've become today. What have I become, my sweetest friend? Everyone I know goes away in the end. But you could have it all. My empire of dirt. I will let you in. I will make you hurt. Dean, I'm going to go to Dean. When we come back, I'm going to go to Mika. And then we'll go to Jason and Jack and Nick and many others. People are asking about the virus missing in Arizona. I don't know about that. I knew about the one down at the Level 4 Bioweapons Lab at the University of Texas. And people say, well, what's the big deal, Alex? Only mice can spread it to us. It's a hemorrhagic fever. People go, well, look at the AP. They say it's not dangerous. Yeah, and they say we should turn our guns in, too. I saw some. It's so hilarious how people try to twist and find something wrong, I say, instead of getting the beam out of their own eye. I mean, we got tyranny coming down on us in 1,000 different flavors, and they're taking people's bank accounts all over Europe. They've signed us on to $85 billion a month to foreign bankers that we got to pay back. It's a national security secret where the money's going, but we know it's foreign banks. This is the la-la land world, and you've just got to get, hey, they're demonizing us because we're the answer. You want to know why every show demonizes patriots? People that know about the New World Order, because we know what's going on. We're the people aware of the takeover. We're not the trendies that, think what's important is what the hockey team's doing or what the basketball team is doing. The UN has passed the treaty to take our guns. Obama's trying to implement. It's on. I predicted mass shootings 6-7 months ago. Before Sandy Hook, before Aurora, because I knew they were coming. Spread the word about the broadcast. Help us get the stories out to everyone. Help expose the domestic arms buildup. Why do you want our guns while the globalist NATO, the UN, has taken control of our military and is training to take on the American people? This is treason. This is treason.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done's been right.
I've studied kleptocracies. I've studied oligarchies. I've studied dictatorships, plutocracies, monarchies. And the unyielding rule is they wage war against common sense, reality, and decency. Especially the more aged and decadent the empires get. And they always end up trying to turn the population into cattle. They always want to dumb them down to make them more easily managed. And they always are their own undoing as they get rid of checks and balances. As they get rid of the checks and balances, they get rid of any protection they had. But now they're just globalists. They're offshore in the law. They're exempt. And then we're tied down with all these fraudulent laws. So the answer is start ignoring it all. I mean, it really, those of us that are upright, decent, and good, we just got to figure out ways to resist the system, not go along with it. Pay with cash, shop with small groups, buy local, don't support Hollywood, badmouth them everywhere, spit when you hear their names, We got a caller who wants to know about a list of the responsible. Dean, that's a good idea. People argue about who should be responsible, but Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan Chase, the UN, the Club of Rome, Bilderberg Group's Ames, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, Peter Singer, George Soros. I mean, these are the authors, Ted Turner, Bill and Melinda Gates. I mean, they're the ones pushing the whole agenda. Who do you think should be on that list? Dean in California, you're on the air.
Oh, Alex, thank you so much. I'm a first-time caller. I've only been listening to you for about a year and a half, although I've probably been of your mindset and belief system for a lot longer than that. And unfortunately, I live in the ground zero of nutcases here in California.
Well, and people that are buying in that they're winners because they drink the Kool-Aid. That these are cult members. They're very sad, actually. That's why they'll laugh at you and say, I don't believe the reality you're saying. They talk to you like a cult member and go, I'm powerful. I'm part of the Jim Jones cult. I'm part of the New World Order cult. And it's like, no, listen, I tried to lovingly talk to this collectivist the other day who said, basically, we're taking over. And he just laughed and said, you can't reach me. He was so wrapped up in his blanket of idiocy. I was like, okay. That's why I was sad. We shouldn't feel bad when they laugh at us. These are gibbering idiots. I'm sorry. Go ahead and make your point.
Well, yeah, my question was if there was such a list or if you had ever had any requests for, here's the list of the 100 or 1,000 people that actually are the ones responsible. Here's
Dr. Rothkopf, head of the Kissinger Group, wrote a book called Superclass that I did read, and it's pretty accurate. He's telling you how lucky we are to have the superclass. 6,000 mega gophers, less than 20 ruling families. I think people should. There are corporate governance maps out there that show pretty good, accurate things. This is a unified crime wave we're dealing with of eugenicists. Like the Koch brothers, they're on the Cold Springs Harbor Eugenics Board. I mean, there's just, even though they're enemies with the other globalists, it's just all the same people. They're God, we're not. We're animals, so they can run over us. I mean, it's that attitude. When it all blows back on them. So I think everybody should make their own list. Everybody should talk about the villains. It's important. It's important they be knee-deep in the list. Our founders did that for decades before 1776. They circulated a list of the tyrants.
Yeah, my thought was that it would be effective if someone as widely recognized as you had that kind of a list, at least so that they were aware that we are watching and we know specifically who they are, not just some faceless.
Oh, they know they're being watched. I mean, that's why they live on country roads with Homeland Security cameras, scanning everybody's driver's license, everybody's plates, and that's why they, live behind armored doors and have bodyguards. I mean, they know they've ripped off countries. They've ordered hits. This is mafia, sir.
Right. And I hopefully don't ever have to, take up arms. Although my wife and I are more than prepared to do that. And again, hopefully that doesn't come to that.
Well, if they're trying to script it, if there's a civil war or after the police are just either brainwashed or they're not, they're already on our side. If they start a war, folks, the globalists are the enemy. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.